on Tuesday morning, the 6th of July, the LAProbate.com. And I have a special guest here today. I get asked all the time by other real estate agents and brokers, wholesalers, investors, even attorneys looking to do marketing in the probate space, what's the best source of data to get leads to market to petitioners and or attorneys? And I answered that. Actually, on my website, I have a list of different data sources. And what I decided to do was to actually talk to the companies that I use daily. I actually subscribe to several sources because all I do is probate, and each has their advantages. But I'm really excited today to introduce to you probatemoney.com, which is a service that is being marketed by the teacher of the California Association of Realtors certification program, Paul Horn. And I'm really even more excited, as much as I love Paul, and he is an expert on the probate process, we have actually the expert behind the scenes on the software and the data. So please, it's my pleasure to introduce today Vladas. He goes by V. Krivickas, who's the CTO of probatemoney.com. V, nice to have you on board today. Welcome to our call.
Thank you very much, and hi, everybody.
Thanks. So I wanted to share today a little bit about your product, and I think what I'm excited about is it's one that I use on a daily basis. Now we're getting that video thing that goes back and forth forever, I think. But it's called probatemoney.com. Before we go to it, then I do want to go into the and do an actual dive. I don't want it to be an ad. I want to be hands-on how we use it. Give me the thinking behind the software. What caused you? There are other products. What caused you to start probatemoney.com as an additional offering in the marketplace?
Good question. So obviously, it's a brainchild of Paul Horn. Like you said, he's one of the top attorneys, probate attorneys in state of California. So he used to have his sort of own certification before he became teacher for CAR, and he used to do it old-fashioned way: send people to courts, distributed it through Excel spreadsheet, and it worked for a while. But obviously, not everybody is a big fan of working with Excel spreadsheet. It has its own limitations. So Paul wanted to do something a little more modern. And since I know Paul for many years, I own a company, Intelligent Cloud, which does custom software. So we kind of sat together. Paul laid out the idea how this should work, and he's like, "Can you do it?" I'm like, "Yes, we can, as long as you give us your guidance." So that was the beginning of Probate. His expertise as a probate attorney, our expertise as a technology company. We try to make it as easy as possible, as straightforward as possible. And I think that's how we're different, really, from some other companies. We're not trying to do too many things. We're not doing NODs, divorces, bunch of other data stuff. We concentrate on probate only. 11 California counties that are sort of most populous and most popular. We might expand, but basically we're covering most of California at this point as far as demographics, population. So that was the start, to have something very straightforward, to give all the controls to the users, because again, you can sign yourself up, you can cancel your account, you can switch between plans, upgrade, downgrade. I can't speak about every other company, but I ran into these issues that you have to call for certain things, you can't do it yourself. We really wanted to give power to the people. If you sign up with us, you can manage account. You don't got to jump through a bunch of hoops. If you want to cancel, you don't like it, it's fine. Go click cancel. We don't do upsells. We don't make you call us. So we sort of wanted to be like a very easy to use, straightforward platform to access probate data, because it's data, right? You know more than anybody. You can drive courts and get the data yourself, but I'm sure you could also give a perspective of how in reality works. And to do this in more than one county, it's a very expensive and time-consuming task.
Well, thanks for the background. So one of the things I need to put my do not disturb on. Sorry about that. So one of the things I get asked a lot about people is, how do I get the data? And I do recommend, I think it's a good experience to go and start the process of accumulating it, so you learn the process, the cycle of the information. I would not say not to do that. What I would say, though, is going to the court, copying files and putting it in a spreadsheet is $10 an hour work. If your goal is to make $100,000, $200,000 or more, you can't do that getting your own data, generally speaking. You have to pay somebody or something to get it for you. So I don't want to discount, though, the value of going to court and learning how to pull it
Absolutely.
yourself. And that's what Paul did. He built his business getting it himself to a point where now he's selling the data as a part of his marketing plan. So thank you for sharing that part of it. And I also want to also share that I use this all the time. I use their service. I use it to look up cases. I'll show you how, and I use it for downloading data as well. So I thought I'd do is I would take you into my actual screen. This is my account of Probate Money, and there's my login is my email address. I'm not going to show you my password. And you log in. And the other thing, I just to go back to something that V said, I appreciate. They're not nationwide yet, but not today for sure. They do a really good job on the counties that they do business in, and you need to check and see if you're in, your business is one of those counties. They're not nationwide; they're just in California at this time. So this is really for Southern California primarily, or I think Northern California, a couple counties as well. But if you're in those, this is a great tool to use and learn from, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to now you hear my audio now.
I
No.
can hear you now. I don't know what happened. I didn't touch anything. Promise.
We're having some technical issues today, but so I asked a question. And by the way, if you're watching this live on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to jump in your comments, and they will pop here, and we'll get a chance to review them and maybe answer them. The question I asked Vlad was, RV was, you have tutorials right there. Why is that important to have in your product right up front to have the video tutorials?
I mean, yeah, I know all of us hate sort of tutorials probably. I mean, at least I do in the sense that I try to figure things out, even if I'm trying to put some furniture together. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read it. And most of the time I regret it. So that's why we have it, even though it's a, pretty intuitive and easy to use platform, but it still has certain either quirks or certain features that you wouldn't know that are there unless you look into the tutorial. So even if you think, I don't have time to watch these tutorials, just looking at certain topics of the tutorials, you can figure out that certain, features, for example, like filtering out of state PRs. There's literally one button, one drop down that you can filter out and only see out of state PRs. And I'm sure Bill can explain to you, if need be, why, for example, some realtors might want, or investors work with out of state PRs. So there are features like that it's a pretty robust and big piece of software that you may not realize that it does these things. It's not just, you just go and see a bunch of data, because otherwise it'll be basically the same Excel spreadsheet. So it does a lot more for you guys than just displays data. So that is why important. And of course, if you're stuck on something, or if you don't know how to do something, we got videos for that.
Well, and I think one of the things I like about it also, it just shows your commitment. When I first talked to you, it was, hey, we have this great program, and our challenge is getting our customers to learn how to use it more effectively. Can you help with that? I think that kind of, to me, shows in the design of your product. So as we continue kind of into the program a little deeper, on the left-hand side, you have your dashboard, right? And the dashboard is the front where you pull in. And then you either have searches that you're creating a new one, or a search you've saved already. This is really, so there's two aspects to this program. One is you can just go in and download the data and do whatever you want, but you also can use it to search cases. And I do this a lot. So if I was going to do a search, and I say I wanted to search for a client, and maybe it's Mr. Jones has a question for me, I would search in the dates of a case. Now, your data goes back, I think, to 2018 or something. How far back?
It really varies on the county. Like, I believe in LA County, you might even find some cases all the way back to 2014. In Northern California counties, we have about a year worth of data.
So I put in a date just to cover it back. And in this case, we're going to do a search within LA County. If I want to search certain zip codes, if I was a more maybe localized agent, I might want to do that, or certain cities. But even if I'm looking for, let's say, a particular attorney, I'm going to go meet and have lunch with Attorney Jones, and I want to see what cases he has and how many cases he has. I can go down here and search, and it'll pull up the city, the date filed, the address, and the cases of attorney, in this case named Jones. And in this case, there's a total of 16 entries. Now, doesn't mean they're all the same Jones, but if I click on the case, I will see that the attorney on this case is Stephen D. Jones. So let's say I was going to have lunch with Stephen D. Jones. I might even go a little further in the advanced search under attorney and say, name, Jones, Stephen. And I just put ST because I'll pick it up that way. Oh, I need to put the dates in again. A little trick, I just go back and put the current date and go back and just change it to the oldest it could be. And search. And didn't get any. What did we do here wrong? Let's go back and check.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not a intuitive search. It's not an 8-hour search. So you really got to put it exactly how it's in the document. Otherwise, it's not gonna come up. You cannot put any commas. Yeah, you just have to. That's one of the quirks of the OSM. You got to put. So basically, if you're not 100% sure, I would always go with the last name, or not sure about the full address, put the house number and street. That's it. But once you use, you will see.
Now, what I can do is I can change this instead of showing 10 at a time to all of them. There's only 16, and I can click all here, and I can export. I can save these leads to my leads if I wanted to, or I can export the list and end up with a spreadsheet that will tell me what the information is. So we've covered different couple things, but here's the case. The case information I find really helpful. It has the property address of the deceased at the time, the name of the deceased, the day of their passing, the courthouse it's in, date filed. The first hearing date's important. Now, it was more important when they were alive, but it's going to tell you they can't get their letters issued before that first hearing date. This is what they put in as the property value. So you can see there's enough there to be of interest that could possibly be a property. Doesn't mean necessarily it's that address, but the odds are pretty good. And you can see the software's already taken this address, run it through Zillow to give you some information about the Zillow estimate for what that's worth, the beds, baths, and the basics of the property. Of course, you can look it up in more detail. In this case, you can just click on this. It takes you right to the Zillow page on that property with all the information on it. Scroll down. This is the petition. This is the person who filed the petition. In this case, you'll notice the name Stephen Jones. He is the administrator, also shows the attorney. Could be a couple reasons why, but that's why this one pulled up. So he's administrating the case, and there's a Stephen D. Jones who's the attorney. He's the petitioner. Now, it might be he's representing himself, so he's not really an attorney. He could be a pro per or pro se. He's the son of the deceased, so that doesn't actually mean he is an attorney. Easy enough to check. He's the beneficiary one, and then there's another woman who's beneficiary two. All this is on the public filing that they file with the court. This is an invasion of privacy because they filed a document with the county that has all this information in it. And Probate Money went through the trouble of sending somebody to the court, getting the document, parsing out the information appropriately, and then giving you information. And really important, it gives you on the top and bottom the case number. Really important. And so this is the value to me that's unique of Probate Money is many times I'll go in and find a case and I can export this in CSV if I have a number of cases or in PDF. And I find that petitioners often are surprised at the dates. They don't know about them. This becomes a nice piece of information. Even though it's all been in the filing, there's nothing here that's really new. It's just a nice piece of information. Also, to refer a case to somebody, let's say they're with one attorney, they're going to go with somebody else, I'll send them this form. It looks nice and professional. Okay, that's kind of what I do with it as far as cases. Anything I missed, V, that you want to point out as we research cases?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like you said, the biggest value is parsing through that information, and that's definitely why going to court at least once yourself is valuable, because you will see that you're dealing with sometimes poorly scanned PDFs and copying information from there. So there's a big difference between that and between how information is laid out here.
Yeah. Now, I will say that you can search. There's the basic. and zip codes. So if you want to get all the properties in a city or certain zip codes or certain cities and such. They have additional deceased information where if you know the property address. The challenge here is the property address has to be exact. You're better off
Yes.
putting the name of the deceased, which is usually going to be on the property profile information. I usually will find it and put the last name of the deceased to find the property address that way. And then again, by
Yes.
attorney, if you're working with attorneys, you can search their business and see how many they've done, or their address, or see that you can check all. Again, you could put all attorneys, say in Culver City or Beverly Hills, to get all the business as long as they put their address in the account as well. And then what happens is also when you find multiple cases. So when I did Jones and I took Stephen out, so you could do any kind of search you want. You could do all the cases filed in the month of June, for example, and you'll get all the results. And then when you get them, you can go through. It has the date filed, the case number, the address, the date filed, the city, and the encumbrance may not be identified. They may not know. I find oftentimes that information is not accurate because they don't know at the time they file what the mortgage is. They find out later. But once you have this, you have the opportunity to save it to your leads, which is like a CRM, or to export it. I'll show you, and I export quite regularly. I don't need the Zillow results when I export, so I check that to skip the Zillow report, which is nice. And then you can get it either in PDF or in CSV format. So let's just do it real quick in CSV, because many times agents want to do this and import it into their regular CRM. Now, is this still showing on my screen share?
No, I believe no.
Okay, so
If
let
you're
me go
trying to
back.
show up Excel, no.
Okay, so let me go back and then try to add in to my screen share window. There we go. Okay, so here's the data. These are the disclaimers. This is the case number we showed you before. The decedent's name, their address, which is most likely the property address, city, state, zip, the date they passed, the courthouse. In this case, we're searching just LA. That's all we're going to get. Date filed, hearing date, the gross fair market value of the property, encumbrances if they're known. If there's personal property involved, many times they have to probate if it's more than 167, but there might not be real estate, so we will look out for those. And then here's the petitioner. That's the person who filed the petition. Usually it's a family member of some sort. And their information, phone number if they have it, address if they put it on the form. And then they want to be appointed administrator, which means they weren't in the will. Executive means they were in the will and they probably have a copy of it. Special administrator is why you might get an attorney involved, because there's a special reason why. Maybe there's the heirs are or the estate is not competent, so as a child or somebody who needs help. And then here's the attorney information and their address if you want to mail it to them, phone number, and email. So what's nice about this is, for those of you who use, like I'm with EXP, we all get KV Core, I could import this right into my software and schedule phone calls, send emails, texts, social media. All that can be done right through my social media. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, V? I feel like I invite you on as a CTO, but I said, I think arrogantly, I think I know how to use this as well as you, because I use it every day.
You probably know it better in a sense. I just know it by the book, how it works as a tech guy. You actually know best real life use cases. So that's why when we talked briefly before this, I'm like, please, can you just show your screen, because I think you might be better in this than me at this.
Yeah. So and I mean arrogant, but I do use this, and so I don't pull all the cases in for marketing, but I do, and I want to get in all the things that I do in particular. But you can narrow the marketing activity, so you can mail to certain groups, and you can pull that search in. You could call different groups, you can email different groups, but the data is all exportable. And the other thing I would encourage you to do is make sure when you export the data, you want to keep it somewhere, even if you're not going to use those leads. Pull them in your CRM, maybe make them inactive, because you only get so many downloads a month, right? You get 5, depending on your program or your pricing level. You get, I think, $250 a month or $500 a month is limited. Correct, V?
Yeah, the highest plan is 900. We, by the way, increased the limits lately, so our highest plan gives you 900 monthly downloads right now.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't know that. The things you learned by talking to Probate Money. Okay, good. You hid
We
that
just
from
rolled
me.
it out sort of quietly to every, I don't know, but I'm sure now
Yeah.
I definitely can, because the way we did it is if you're a current subscriber, so with your next billing cycle, you automatically quota increase. But I think we already went through everybody, so I'm pretty sure everybody saw an increase lately for the
I'm
same
not. I'm
price.
not
It didn't
complaining. And
increase any, it didn't increase any prices.
I don't mean to complain. I'm having fun with you. I use this all the time, so I'm a happy customer. Okay. So then the other things I want to show you, if you go into Probate Money, we did a search. Now, I know there's notifications. I don't use this because I use my own software, but you could use them to notify new filings or other similar type things that might get your attention. The My Leads is a way that you can pull your leads in and save them rather than printing them out or exporting them and have them here and available. You can see I don't use that feature because I'm importing them directly into my own CRM. Trust Leads is a nice video that Paul talks about what trust leads are and a step guide and a manual you can download to focus if you're interested on trust leads. And then he has a lot of educational videos, and then he has marketing material as well. Now I'll say this: with the greatest of respect, appreciation for Paul and who he is and what he does, um, you've put some good resources here, right? But as a real estate agent or investor, you need to really design your marketing system. You can't. This is not really plug and play. It's not really at that level, but it's a great start. They have letters that you can use and start with, yellow pad letters that you can send as well, and postcards that you can use, templates already made. But I would just really urge you, make sure that this marketing plan has your voice and your feel to it. Because when you use somebody else's marketing plan, it was designed because it worked for somebody else. And you need to think about how's this going to work for me, if that makes sense. Again, with the greatest respect to your system.
No, absolutely. I mean, 100%. We position it like that. I think there are multiple places where we say these are just examples. You can definitely, if you brand new, if you somebody like Bill, you're not gonna get anything out of it because he's a pro. If you start probate, it might give you some good ideas and some good resources, even some technical gimmicks. You know, you can download and write things in a font, you know, which is paid font, which is sort of looks like handwritten font. So maybe you could pick some good gems, a few things, but you definitely have to tweak things. And
Mm-hmm.
none of this is meant to just, you know, copy paste and you know, all of a sudden you're rich, you're getting hundreds
Right.
of. We don't make that promise, and this is not going to work like that.
But it's a great start. There's some great resources there, definitely worthy of looking into, particularly if you're going to mail to petitioners or you're going to mail to attorneys or mail to beneficiaries. They have some good starting points that you can work on to develop your own program. The last thing I want to show you was, and I use this a lot, I don't use their service, I use my own. So I can't really comment, but the concept of the petitioner getting money right away, sometimes they need money to pay for an attorney. Sometimes they need money to fix the house up, make a mortgage payment, pay property taxes. Maybe they just need some money. You know, they're gonna get $1 million in a year, but they would love $10,000 right now. So you can watch the video here of this program, this Advanced Inheritance program. There's a link to the website. I've used this company, Advanced Inheritance. They're very good. I've made good money on it. And there's a commission plan where you get 7.5% on the first $25,000 cash advance, and then a little bit less as it goes up. So on a $10,000 advance to your client, you're going to get $750 cash. That's not going to be life-changing money, but it's kind of money that I've put into my marketing to help pay for things like probate money and mailers and things like that. So definitely worth watching this video. I can recommend Advanced Inheritance. It's a great company. They do a very good job in LA County in particular. And you can make some money on it. If you get my problem was I got turned down by them a couple times. And if you do a high volume, then I actually set my own company and have some other companies I work with as well. But I would definitely check that out if you've never done one. It's a great place to start.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, you know, you look good as a real estate because at least that's what I see from my point. You know, you want to come to these folks as an expert who can recommend a bunch of services, right? That's a value of a good real estate professional.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come as a package and you can say, oh, you need money, you need advance, I got you. I got you. So why not be that good guy and make a little extra cash, to cover your marketing? And I do know some of our subscribers are using this because,
Yep.
yes, a lot of times, because again, generally, wealthy people don't go into probate, generally, as a
Correct.
general rule.
Correct.
So in a lot of cases, you will run into situations, correct me if I'm wrong, working with probate folks, that they do need that money now. They do not have money to maintain their property to wait until it closes. So it's a good perk. Like I said, this is not us. This is another company, but we haven't heard any complaints about them. We only heard good things.
Yeah, I've used them. I've gotten paid by them, and they've done a good job for some clients. They also, though, don't do all. It's like a lender; they don't do all of them. So you have to have a second or third option if they're not going to make it work.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. I mean, exactly. Yeah.
And if I can be a second or third option, call me. I'd be glad to help. So that's really my overview of Probate Money. I recommend it. I think if you're in those counties, I would definitely check it out. I think you guys give like a 7-day free trial, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we do 7-day free trial. Again, we don't play any games, so you don't even need to call anybody to cancel. You could if you want, but you get 7 days to do it. You just put your credit card in. It's not gonna get charged. So you can either cancel by the 7th day, or if you keep going, you will get charged. So like I said, we try to get all the controls. We try to be as transparent as possible so you can test drive it. You don't like it, no worries. You're not gonna beat you like it, keep going. It's month-on-month basis. Again, I know some companies have commitments 3 months, 6 months, a year. We don't do that. It's all month to month.
So, look, I want to thank you, V, for making this possible today, making time possible. I recommend Probate Money. I want to say at least once or twice a week. I wanted to do this so that when I make a recommendation, I can give you a little more information than just check out the company and send you on your own. But V, I just want to thank you so much for your time today, and your help with the product. I use it every day. I've made good money because of Probate Money. I've made good money. Paul Horn's been a great teacher for me along the way and a great resource. So thank you so much. And if someone wants to reach you, V, they just go onto the Probate Money website, or how would somebody?
Yeah, they can just go to probatemoney.com. There is a phone number to you on the left-hand side, so they can just call that number. More likely than not, I'm going to be the one picking up the phone. So and you can reach me that way.
And I reach them all the time. So, hey, thank you so much again, V. And that's
okay. Thank you very much for having me.
And if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to it. If you have questions or suggestions, put comments in it. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, we'd love to get your interaction and help to do more of these things, bring more value to our community of realtors, investors, wholesalers, and attorneys. Thank you so much, everybody.